All right, boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen, it's Mr. G again. We are continuing with our Pixlr walkthrough tutorial here. Get my little guy here. Okay, so last time we moved on, we were talking about our layout here. So we've got our girl with the flowers here. We've got our move tool we talked about. Lets us move things around. Again, if we hover over any of the tools in the toolbar here, it gives us a little pop-up, tells us what they are, what they do, and if there's a shortcut, okay? We also talked about the magnifying tool, how we can zoom in and zoom out, and what we got up here. And then we also have the hand tool, which will let us pan things in and out and move things around in our image, okay? Also, we touched on the navigation bar where we can also navigate up here, okay? I didn't mention right up here there is a plus and minus. You can just go up and down like here and do the same thing. And the space bar, like I said, is how you would if you have any other tool in your hand. The space bar is always the navigation tool, and you will use that a lot. Okay, so let's go here, and I'm going to push Command 0, which is the shortcut to make things fit back into the screen. It just puts in there. That's a good one to write down. Command key plus 0 or Control 0 on a Windows or Chrome OS is going to put things back into perspective to fit the screen. Okay. Now we're going to talk about our move tool here. Okay. So I've got this guy right here. So we talked about over here our navigation panels. Okay. Here it says layers. Okay. And it says background. So that's the image we have right here. Okay. Now, again, whatever's in our hand is over here on the toolbar. And you notice when, like we said, we change tools, the option bar up here is going to change depending on what tool is in our hand. Okay. So right here, it says we can unlock this, we can duplicate it, okay, because the layer is in locked position. Now, what that means is this layer right here, it's got this little padlock. That means it is locked down so that we can't adjust it, okay? So we can click on this little hamburger menu right here. We can change the name of it if we want to, of this layer. Blending modes, we'll talk about that layer. We can make it transparent or not so we can see through it. And we can lock and unlock it here, okay? We can make it visible and we can make it hidden, okay? And we got some other options down here, and we can just delete the layer, okay? So let's go ahead and we're just going to close that for right now. We're going to go up here and we're going to first duplicate this layer. We're just going to push duplicate. Now you'll see we have background, we have background copy, okay? And now you'll notice this one is locked, this one is not. You'll notice I have the control handles to adjust it. So with my move tool, I can resize this down. I can move it around. At the top here, I have a handle that I can rotate it back and forth. Okay. All of those transformations, again, transformation is just what Photoshop and Pixlr are calling when we change an object, change a layer, resize, rotate, anything like that. Okay. There's fixed, meaning that I will resize this layer uniformly. It'll stay the same. If I put it to free, what that means I can warp the image and squish it or stretch it, and it's going to lose its proportions. Okay. Also have width, height, if you have a specific size you need to put it in. So if I need it to be exactly 100, I can type that in and that'll go. Same thing here. You can rotate it left and right if you want it to rotate exactly at 90 degrees. You have a horizontal flip. So if you want to flip it the other way, if you want to flip it upside down, all very cool. You can duplicate it again. You can throw it away. Okay. Again, you'll see that it is on its own layer. We can do all that. Okay. Now, right here, I would call this poking out the eyeball in Photoshop because there's a little eye and you poke it and it makes it invisible. Okay. Now that layer is still there. We just made it not visible. Okay. So we poke it again and it's back visible. All right. So we've got layers palette, our navigation, and our move tool. Okay. That's how we move things around. All right, let's bring one more image into the party here. Let's go, and I pulled up this B here, and I'm just going to right click on him, and I'm going to say copy image. Now, cool thing about Photoshop and Pixlr here and these online based programs, they handle images really well. They're really intuitive. Like, I wonder if I can just paste this in here to the clipboard. I push Command V, which is paste, or I go up here to edit, paste. Control V is the shortcut. I put that. My B is going to go right in there, okay? Now you'll see I've got another layer up here. If I poke the eye out, that's my B layer. I'm going to go ahead and change that. I'm going to go to this hamburger menu. I'm going to click in here, and I'm going to change the name. I'm going to change it to B. And I'm going to push return. Okay. Now, you'll see, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to tuck it right over here. Okay. My B layer is on this layer. Now I can rearrange layers very easily by just clicking and dragging. Now layers is one of the key components of understanding Photoshop and wrapping your mind around how these graphic programs work. Okay, think of it like a sandwich where your background layer is the base piece of bread on the bottom, and then you're going to put your lettuce, and then your tomato, and then your meat, and then your cheese, and then another layer, and these just keep stacking up as high as you want them to go. Okay, so if I take this B layer and I drag it down below my background copy, you'll notice right here, now this is covering up over top of it. If I move it, I can see it underneath it. If I want the B back on top, I drag it up. Okay, again, background stays right down there. Alrighty, let's see where we're at on time here. Got a couple minutes here. All right, so we talked about layers, moving layers around, stacking layers, making layers visible, making them reappear. Okay, let's talk about this next panel right down here. Let's say I did something by accident and you don't know what happened. Happens all the time in Photoshop and in Pixlr. Okay, so when I'm in class here, a student will raise their hand like, Mr. G, I don't know what happened and I don't know how to undo it. Okay, the best thing about these programs is if you go up here, there's an undo button. So Control Z, okay, is the button for undoing. So if you go and just put Control Z, and I want you to look down here in this history panel, and as I say Control Z, I do it again, and again, it's just going to slowly step backwards in time to what I did until all of it goes back to where I want. Okay, there's also a redo button. So if I push Command Y, it's going to go back the other way in this list. Okay, now this history panel, I can also just click through it. So if you like it that way easier, and it tells what, oh, I was on the layer order and I arranged, I had visibility, and then I put that B in there. Nope, I didn't mean that. I can go back and forth, and as long as it's in here, you can see it. Now this is going to go quite a bit far back. Okay, it goes about 35 steps, I think, until you start caching your undos. Okay, but if you keep pace with that, you'll know what you're doing. Okay, so again, that's Control Z up here for edit, undo, and redo. Okay, we will stop right there and we'll pick up with this on a later day. Stay creative, and I will talk to you soon.